Meeting to order at this time. It's September 6, 2018 at 3:30. Mr. Hopkins, if we can have roll call, please.
Dominic.
Present.
Lyndon Johnson.
Present.
Jackson. Lynn. Bowman.
Present.
Cawthorn.
Present.
Gage Watts. Middleton.
Here.
Atkins. Chavez.
Here,
Smith.
sir.
Present.
Lewis Johnson.
Present.
We have a quorum, sir.
If we all can rise, Commissioner Atkins will lead us in the invocation, and Commissioner Matthew Lynn will do the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Please join me in prayer if you will. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for our many blessings. Thank you for everyone in attendance today and here working around the horseshoe. Please help us to be wise and kind and generous and patient. Please bless all those around us and all those less fortunate. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Everyone, please face our flag and say the Pledge of Allegiance along with me. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we get started, Todd, I guess our screens and we are able to vote today, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so everything's working. Remember, if you wish to say anything, press the button, okay? All right, so we're moving over to our next item.
Agenda additions, I have none.
Do we need to go ahead and make a motion to move Mike Spence? I'd like to amend our agenda
Second.
to move Mike Spence up after the citizens' comments portion. That's made by the chair, seconded by Commissioner Mike Middleton. Please vote. Now I can vote no. He told me to make that motion, but I want to. No, I don't have to make it. This is not. This isn't just a minute. And our great computers.
Mine's blank. Nothing's on there.
You're 9 with that.
Okay, so that passes. I guess 9-0. Okay. All right. So we're moving on to our next item, which says the commission sits as the tax board of review for tax assessments for the year 2018. Mr. Charlie Hennington will present his 2018 tax protest to the tax board of review. We sit as the tax board of review, and that's why this is here at this time. If you guys remember, we do this each and every year. Charlie, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, just let me have a letter I read to you every year. As dear board of review, as assessor in and for the parish of Caddo, this is to certify that the assessments on property located in and or accessible in Caddo Parish have been listed and assessed in accordance with Title 47, Section 1992. It is further certified that the said assessments have been exposed for public review for 15 calendar days beginning August 16th, 2018 and ending August 30th, 2018. Said certification of the above is hereby given to the Board of Review as required by Title 47, Section 1992. You sit as Board of Review to hear appeals, but we don't have any as of today. The appeal deadline is Monday, the 10th at 5 o'clock. So I'll know if we have appeals to be heard that day or not, or to be heard on the 17th.
If no one makes any appeals, we don't have to do anything, but if they do, you'll have to come back. Is that correct?
I come back and tell you there's no appeals.
Okay.
That's
So
it.
there's no need to make a motion or anything today. Is that right, Todd?
I don't think so.
We-
Well, go ahead and set the date for the
Yeah, we
appeal.
do need to set the tax review board for the 17th to meet at 2 o'clock
Okay.
if there are appeals.
Yes.
Is that our next regular scheduled meeting?
That's a work
session.
Yes.
Okay, so do I have a motion to set the Board of Review to hearing appeals on September 15th at our next 15th or 17th?
17th.
17th at 3:30, our workshop. Motion is made by Commissioner Lynn Cawthorn, seconded by Commissioner Mike Middleton.
3:30.
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
Commissioner Matthew Lynn, you got a question?
I do have a question for Mr. Henning.
Sure, go ahead.
Yes.
If a person did have a discrepancy about their tax assessment, do they still have time to come see you?
Yes, we talk to them all year long. That's just the official time to, that the books
I
are
got you,
open.
Mike.
Okay,
But
thank you. That's all.
anytime.
Commissioner Middleton?
Do you think we can probably wrap this up at 2:45, starting at 2:45?
Depends on how many appeals there are. And if there's one or two, sure, but if there's
Are we
10,
going to hear the entire appeal?
Yes.
Making a decision? Or does this have to go to the LTC?
you hear the appeal, and sometimes you make a decision then, sometimes you make a decision at the Thursday meeting.
Todd, go ahead.
Yeah, you'll meet first on Monday to hear the appeal, and then if whoever may be appealing, then they take that, and that recommendation is made and voted officially on Thursday. But we have to have a tax review board meeting first on Monday.
So is it gonna be, the best thing to do is to set it at 3:30 or do we?
Well, we set it at 2 o'clock. If we don't have any appeals,
Yeah, we're gonna just be sitting here.
we can take it off. If we have only one appeal, we can adjust the time back to 2:45 or something like that.
Right.
We'll know after Monday, I believe.
After Monday, I'll call you Tuesday morning and we'll talk
Okay,
about it.
so,
And also, some of the appeals, they mail in and they never show up. So I give you the paperwork.
Todd, I would
And you can read
suggest
through
that
it.
we set it, you know, if there's one appeal, do it at 3 o'clock. I mean, if there's more, then, you know, a little, because I don't want to drive up here. So I'll make my motion or amend it just to say to be set on that date,
On the
and
17th.
the clerk can do that, okay? Please vote. Excuse me. Voting on setting set as a board of review for the appeals on our next workshop session. We don't have any at this time, Commissioner Jackson. We have to legally do this. Okay, that passes 10-0. Moving on to.
Well, I got one other thing. In November, on the amendments, there is an amendment on there for freezes to be extended to trust. And that's a very good thing for the citizens, because when the freezes came about in 2004, freezers were excluded. And so this will allow people
I mean, trusts were excluded?
Yeah, I'm sorry, the trusts were excluded.
Someone has like a family trust, the property.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So, if you would, read through it and, make a decision, but it's very good for the people this year.
Thank you, Mr. Henningston.
All right,
Thank you
thank
for
you.
coming here today. Appreciate your hard work. Keep it up, okay? Moving on to our next
Next,
item.
move to citizen comments.
Okay, citizens who wish to address the commission on any issue other than zoning, please fill out a comment card and forward it to myself, comment or to the clerk. Comment cards are located in the chamber foyer. Your comments are limited to 3 minutes. I have no comment cards. Todd, did you have any?
No, sir, I do not.
Okay, so we'll move on to our next item.
Okay, next we move to special resolutions. Special resolution of recognition to Mr. Mike Spence, Caddo Parish Clerk of Court.
Okay, let's move by the chair.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Linda B. Johnson. If we can all rise, and if we all can rise, we'll have the reading by the clerk of the resolution. Mr. Spencer, you can come up. I know you have Miss Felicia, your right-hand lady with you. If y'all both can come up.
You got Commissioner Bowman and the white girl. Sponsor.
Yes, sir. Do what? Okay. Mr. Bowman wanting to be out here?
Yeah, he has the white girl.
Okay, can you give us just a second? Let me go see what Mr. Bowman is.
Speak the name to the door.
I'll practice standing up.
Yeah, he wants to raise it. He just wants to raise it.
All right, in the name and by the authority of the Caddo Parish Commission, resolution of recognition to Mr. Mike Spence. Whereas the Caddo Parish Commission is always pleased to join in acknowledging and honoring those citizens of the parish who by their ongoing demonstrations of selfless service to to their fellow man set superlative examples of good citizenship and community involvement. And whereas such an individual as Mr. Mike Spence, who is celebrating 40 years of service to the Caddo Parish Clerk of Court's office. And whereas Mr. Spence started his career as criminal clerk in Caddo Parish Clerk of Court's office on September 5th, 1978, by the late Dwight D. Pyburn. In 1987, he was appointed supervisor of the civil department by the late Clerk of Court, Curtis Warren. He continued to move up the ladder, and in July 2000, former Clerk of Court Gary Lofton appointed Mr. Spence as administrative assistant. Then in February of 2008, he was appointed the chief deputy. And whereas on July 1st, 2016, Mr. Spence achieved his ultimate goal and was sworn as the Caddo Parish Clerk of Court. And whereas the Clerk of Court is custodian of records for Caddo Parish, including property transfers, mortgages, civil suits, criminal cases, and marriage license. The clerk also trained election commissioners, tabulates election results, and supervises a staff of 101 employees. The Clerk of Court's office plays a vital role in the legal, economic, political, and social affairs of Caddo Parish. And whereas Mr. Spence has enjoyed his many years serving the citizens of Caddo Parish with his employment at the Caddo Parish Clerk of Court's office, he has also served his community by coaching young men and women softball, baseball, basketball, and football. Although Mr. Spence stays busy with both job and coaching duties, he relishes his time with his wife, Terry, daughter Kelly, and 2 grandchildren, Abigail and Sam. Now therefore be it resolved by the Caddo Parish Commission in a legal session, it does hereby extend its warmest expressions of congratulation and appreciation to Mr. Spence, not only for his tireless service to this community during work hours, but also in recognition of his contributions to the parish and this community through his community service efforts. Be it further resolved that the Caddo Parish Commission does thank Mr. Spence for his dedication to the Caddo Parish Clerk of Court's office and looks forward to many more years of his leadership.
Oh, there he comes in.
Oh, there he is.
Felicia, you want to get in? Come on.
Yeah.
You can be seated.
I had the Janet Jackson wardrobe that once. I don't want to ask questions.
Just want to say, Mike, thank you for all your hard work and service. I know that this was initially put on, I think the resolution was put on because of all the hard work and dedication that y'all have put and worked with Commissioner Bowman and Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts regarding the expungement. Mike told me he's been serving 40 years. He started work over there when he was 10 years old.
Wow. I wish.
But 2 things, he's a big LSU fan and he does coach baseball. It did say there, so he's currently coaching Loyola baseball, so wish y'all the best of luck. And thank you for all your hard work. As a lawyer, I get to deal with Mike. He's always there. He's always there to answer any questions and help me out. And he's just not me. He's any lawyer. His door is open. You can go in there just about any time. And he runs a tight ship.
Very tight.
When you go to, I'm not going to say anything bad about him, but the Caddo Parish Clerk of Courts, you walk in there, everybody's friendly. They're always willing to help. And I always say that about y'all. Y'all do a very good job. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Doug.
Gerald, I'll let you talk first.
Well, you pretty much said it all, and I won't delay, but I just want to echo those sentiments and thank you and your staff each year. The way you all are able to streamline, and we've gotten so much success and feedback. Even, and I want to thank Ms. Monique Irma as well, but it's been something that's one of the good things, some of the great things that we're doing here, but that's one that's been consistent. And without your guidance and leadership, we would not be able to do it. And thank you for your years of service as well. That's commendable. So we just want to let you know we appreciate you, and thank you. Yes, sir.
Mike, go ahead. Did you say anything?
I just want to thank everybody for this. It truly means a lot to me, and I hope I have many more years of service to all of you. Thank you.
We told I see Miss Felicia's here. She's also a hard worker. And if Ken Ward ever gets out of line, all you got to do is call Miss Felicia. She'll take care of him, okay? I have one commissioner. Is that Linda Johnson? Are you on the board? Jackson. My eyes are getting bad. I'm about as old as Mike and can't see real well. Commissioner Jackson?
Yeah, Mike, I appreciate you. I was nervous when I saw this. I thought you were going somewhere. So good to know that this is about the expungement, all the work that you do with the expungement summit. I just have one favor, if you could. I think I shared to you. I told you I wouldn't know Gary Lofton if he was sitting on the front row. So if you could facilitate the introduction between us. But I agree with Commissioner Dominic. I'm often just amazed when I walk through the door. Everybody's smiling, and when you walk through that, I guess you could call it that, the alley of clerk workers. Everybody's smiling, everybody's happy. I don't know what y'all doing over there. I don't know if it's the pay or what. But very seldomly do you see public sector workers a lot of times that willing to help. And we often talk about the bureaucracy. I've never gone to the clerk's office and felt like I didn't get a yes, or let me show you how I can help you. And so we need to hear that more in just government, period. And we have it throughout the parish, because I go to different parish departments and call, and I don't have to tell people who I am. And I don't like to tell people you're a parish commissioner or you're a city councilman or you work with the parish administration. They just do it. And that's a good sign of how citizens are being, the customer services that's being demonstrated. So congratulations, good job. And I don't even know most of your staff name, but they're always smiling and just great people to work with.
It's those peppermints in my office that you grab.
The peppermints are good. So I often just kind of hang out and drop by his office just to talk politics and everyday life. So it's great to know you, Mike. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you, and wish you the best of luck. So I'll see you next week sometime. Let's say I have to go down there tomorrow. Okay, Todd, moving on to our next item.
Next, we move back to visitors. Ms. Angie White, Senior Vice President, NLP.
Hello, Ms. White. How are you doing today? We appreciate you coming here to our Caddo Parish Commission meeting, and we'll turn it over to you for your update at this time.
Thank you for having me back, and I'm happy to come back and give an update on the ACT Work Ready Communities program that I think been to talk to you about twice before, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about what it is, other than to say that it's a 4-parish initiative, Shreveport, Bossier, Caddo, Bossier, Webster, DeSoto, to educate our community and all stakeholders about a tool called Work Keys that demonstrates an individual's work readiness for a particular job. So I think the last time we met, we were still all going through the training program that ACT puts on. And I wanted to give you the update that this is our graduation certificate. This shows that we completed the 4 academies and got an A. They actually showed a video that the Bossier Chamber made where they interviewed me about this. It's 12 minutes long. And they played the entire 12-minute video at the last ACT Academy, which was terribly embarrassing. But they thought it was such a good explanation of the process. So I think we get it, was what I took away from that. The handout that I gave you, what I wanted to show you is where we are now and what we as a team will be focusing on going forward. So the handout on page 2, the top right corner, shows for Caddo Parish what our goals are that we have 2 years to achieve as of June of this year. We have goals tied to the emerging workforce earning this certificate, and you see there's a green check mark next to it. That means we've achieved that goal already. Yay, yay us. We're celebrating the victories. That is in large part because our high schools have been testing students in Work Keys. So we had that win behind us going into it, and that's an advantage that not every county that went through this training had. Secondly, the current workforce, we have exceeded that goal as well. That's two goals down. The third goal is the transitioning workforce, and as you can see, we have not hit that goal yet. That is the unemployed, individuals in adult education programs, unemployed veterans. And so we've got some work to do in partnership with our workforce development boards, and we are working closely with them to get these individuals who are interested tested. And then lastly, the employer supporting goal. That's our biggest deficit probably in terms of percentages. But given that we started at 2 when we started this process and we now have 40, we're moving along pretty well. I feel confident that within a year, we will have achieved all of our goals and we'll be at 100%. When that happens, we become a certified work-ready community and we get a badge that we can put on anything, any of our marketing material. And that becomes very useful in the world of economic development when we're talking to people who don't know our community very well. So we're looking forward to that day. If you flip to the next page, this shows the breakdown of these Work Keys certificates for those people who've already taken them. And we can compare this with how that breakout looks nationally, or we can compare it with other places that are going through this program along with us to see how we're doing in comparison. Right now, we're tracking pretty well with the nation, so that's encouraging. You'll notice in the silver category, that's where most of people are testing, and that's important because 69% of the 21,000 occupations that have been profiled, that's the score that's needed to demonstrate you're work ready for those jobs. So that's an important score, and we're happy we're scoring high there. If you look at the next page, it shows you the list of Caddo Parish employers who have gone online and filled out the support form to demonstrate that they know about this and they think it's a good program. We have many companies that we're still in conversations with about this. I have no doubt we're going to hit our goal. I think I've been really pleased with the responses we've gotten from some of our larger employers. They ask very good questions. They've come to the Human Resource Professional Lunch and Learn events that we've hosted. So I think that this list is going to keep growing, and what I'm excited about is the other members of this very large team are helping to bring in these employers. So everyone's rowing in the same direction, which is very encouraging to see. If you look at the next page, it shows you where we as a team are choosing to focus our energies for this next year, and that's on getting our transitioning workforce tested and on getting more employers supporting this initiative, and not just saying, yes, I think it's a good idea, but how can I incorporate this into my hiring process? So we've written several grant applications that are out right now, and if we are awarded those grants, that's really what we're going to be expending those funds on, is getting people tested, trained, and getting employers more involved. The next to last page shows the different organizations that are participating in this initiative officially as part of our team. I think that's really critical. We've got a lot of great partners working together. And then the last page is the name of our team now, North Louisiana Ready to Work. We feel like this team is going to be a great vehicle to do other things, and we didn't want to tie it to ACT Work Ready Communities, so we've given it a name. We have a website that the Shreveport Chamber helped us design, and all of the information about the Work Ready Communities program, and specifically for our region, is listed on that website, and so we use that when we're talking to employers. So I don't know, that's a lot more technical information, but if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them for you.
Okay.
All right.
Commissioner Matthew Lynn?
Ms. White, is the 12-minute video of you on the North Louisiana ReadyToWork.org site?
It's on the ACT Work Ready Communities site. I'll need to double check, but I will let you know. And if not, we'll make sure it is on there.
Thank you. That's everything.
Ms. White, thank you for coming today. Appreciate y'all's hard work. Huh?
I think
Okay, hang on.
We're not coming
All
up.
right, I was wondering, I figured some people were going to ask. Okay, Commissioner Middleton, are you on board?
Just real quickly, as y'all know, this is on the agenda today. Commissioner Atkins and I saw a presentation at the recent NLEP quarter, and that's why we thought it needed to be brought to the full commission to give a support, a resolution of support for this program. So thank you for being here today.
We're very excited about it, and we appreciate that.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes, Angie, I appreciate you working on this, and just how do you, or where specifically do we discuss the actual gap that employees, what I struggle with a lot of times, and I think a lot of us struggle with this conversation is, I even had it in my office early this week, is I have a person who's moved here with his family, has the skills, but is saying no jobs exist. So how, or is this strictly focused on our younger workers? Or
It's
is this all
definitely not
workers?
focused on younger workers. I guess it depends on the skill set the person has and
Like
what they want to do.
CDL, and
Oh, if they're having trouble finding a job with a CDL,
that's
they
what I
are
told
not
you.
looking hard, because every company I know needs to hire a CDL. So I'll be.
And so
I can send you some websites to send to that individual.
So does this capture the folks like him who may not be looking or doing? Are we tracking?
If that individual with a CDL walks into any staffing agency in this city right now, they will very likely get a job.
So you think their best method is probably through the staffing
The
agency?
Louisiana Workforce Commission, laworks.net, that would be a good place for them to look for a job, or any of the staffing agencies.
Right. So my question is, do y'all capture that in your data? Is folks who just, I guess, leave out of the area or tap out and say, this is not, I can't find anything in my area, so I just go basically settle for this particular career over here, a job over there?
So probably where this tool will be most helpful to people is, especially if you're not working right now, is if there is a particular occupation you want to be in and it has been profiled, it's among the almost 22,000 occupations that have already been profiled by ACT. You can go look through that database, find that occupation, and see what the score is that is recommended for that job. And when you take the work keys test, ideally you want to have that same score. That's how the system works. It means that you're work ready for that job. You may not have the technical training, but you are trainable for that job. So if the individual takes the test and they don't score high enough, there is training available. In particular, I know Bossier Parish Community College offers it to the public. There's a fee for it, but it's not insurmountable. Hopefully more of our testing sites, which are primarily community and technical colleges, will be offering the training too. But that's really how that system works. And when an individual doesn't have anything else to show but maybe a high school degree or a high set, having that work keys certificate with a score that matches the job they're applying for tells that employer a lot about how work ready they are.
And I appreciate
And I'm
it.
happy to sit down and go into detail with you about this.
Yeah, and we can do that. I just had one more other question. I know that we get a lot of groups that come down and talk about job readiness and workforce development. I know Interfaith has been one. Have y'all locked into? Because what I don't want to do is I don't want them to come and say, well, we're choosing one program over their program. I try not to diminish anybody's work. But are y'all collaborating? I don't see them on this particular list, or do y'all need help getting them to the table?
I did meet with Lady Carlson and their new staff person recently, and I cannot remember his name right now. But we applied for a grant to both the Community Foundation and United Way. And what we specifically spoke about was the ALICE population that the United Way really spends their efforts on. And I think that's really the same population that Interfaith is very focused on. So when we are able to access funds that we can use to get populations of people tested, they will certainly be one of those partners. We just are waiting.
Okay, so their program focuses on the sort of ALICE population, because I think theirs is ASK, I believe.
Yeah, it's people who are employed but underemployed, essentially, and they need more to get to another higher level of salary.
That works. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank you,
Angie.
Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Lyndon Johnson?
Thank you, Ms. White. What means are y'all going by to get employers to support this ACT work ready?
I speak to a whole lot of people. We have a team among the 25 organizations on that list who are identified as employer outreach specialists. So it's individuals who in their job, wherever they work, whether it's SUSLA, BIPSI, wherever, Goodwill, they are normally out talking to employers. I led the training, so I'm one of them. And we have trained those people how to add this to their list of tools when they're talking to employers about, challenges they're having with their workforce, and talk them through the process. So if we get them interested enough that they really want to find out how can I incorporate this into my hiring process, we've hosted 4 lunch and learns for HR professionals, just the HR folks, to come and really dig in. Ask the nitty-gritty questions. It's an hour-and-a-half long training. And I've had several employers ask me to come specifically talk to their team from those events. The most recent one, Bossier Parish HR director asked me to come talk to her department heads because she's very interested in using this as a hiring tool at Bossier Parish, but the department heads need to be on board. So it's just a lot of group conversations, and then we narrow it down to the individual employer conversations as their interest level increases.
Okay, because I'm also a member of a manufacturing sector that meets, and I don't really see any of those.
Well, I've spoken to the Manufacturing Managers Council. Which group is it that you're part of?
That's it.
Oh, well, I spoke to them, I think it was in April.
Okay.
It was a meeting when we also were talking about the ITEP program, so that kind of took over the whole conversation. But I'm a very active member of the Manufacturing Managers Council, and I've had many conversations with some of the individual companies. They can't always make a decision right away. You know, they have to kind of talk to the whole broader team.
Right.
But I have not come across, knock on wood, a single employer that I've talked to, and I've probably myself individually talked to 100 different companies. Not a single one has said to me, I don't think this is a good idea. I don't think this is a good fit for us.
Okay, next question. Some of the cities that are already ACT work ready, have their number of companies that come to them, has that increased, thus increasing more jobs?
I have not had conversations with any of those communities. Site Selection Magazine, which is one of those organizations that does rankings of communities based on different location criteria, they actually now have this as one of the criteria that they are ranking communities on. So for us, it's very important to have it as another thing that might boost our ranking when companies or site selection consultants are looking at possible locations for companies. But I know that South Carolina, Tennessee, Arkansas are using it very heavily, and that's part of the reason why.
Okay, so as you go out and as companies are looking at Shreveport as a potential site, is this something that has been coming up in the conversation?
Yes. We had 2 different familiarization tours for site selectors over the last 2 to 3 years, or NLEP has. One was in the Monroe and Reston area. One was here last fall. I think you all probably came to a lot of those events. In both instances, there were different consultants at those events. No one overlapped. Both times, one of the consultants asked us, I see that your educational attainment's pretty low. I did my due diligence before I came. Have you considered participating in the Work Ready Communities program? I think this could help you. So that's really what got our attention and why NLEP tried to move us in this direction.
Okay, because I've read in some article that someone tried to say that Shreveport didn't have the workforce for a large manufacturing. So if this puts us and puts the statistics out there to eliminate that particular article,
right,
then I think that's something we should really be looking at.
We've requested some grant funds from AEP's foundation. And one of the things that we want to use those funds for, if we receive them, is to use a technology that we have a subscription to, but we might need someone with a little bit better research capabilities to come in and work with us on. We want to do an analysis of those manufacturing occupations that we have here already in large numbers, ones that we're getting a lot of prospects coming through, and then lining those up with the appropriate work key scores and looking at our community and see how we measure up. Do we need them to be scoring higher? Do we need them to be scoring differently? So hopefully we'll have something I can really give you some information on within the next 6 months.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Atkins?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Angie. Appreciate all you do. The Work Ready program is certainly very important for our community. It's very important for economic development. I'm aware of a particular company that moved into town, a manufacturing company that moved out to North Market and then weren't able to find the labor that they needed, the proper skills that they needed. So they still have their facility there, but they moved a lot of the work down to South Louisiana. They were not from here. They may not have had the right networks to find the proper employees for their group, but the more work-ready people we can have in our community, the better. I agree that it's certainly measured by the site selection consultants, and the more we can do to improve our rankings or our position in those rankings, the better. So I applaud what y'all are doing. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you. And I will say that if ever any of you are talking to employers like that before they've made the decision to relocate,
after the move,
please put them in touch with me or anyone at our organization. Related to Work Keys in particular, we now have all these organizations that understand this and can talk about it. So I would hope that if an employer is talking with any of them, they would be able to talk to them about this way that you can measure someone's qualifications for a job.
Thank you, Miss Angie. Thank you for coming today. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
Next,
Hey,
we
Mr.
have
Hop-
Mr. Cedric Johnson, Louisiana Youth Sports Academy.
How you doing? Good afternoon, Mr. Johnson.
Good afternoon.
How you doing today? Appreciate you coming here today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, on behalf of the Caddo Parish Commission, would welcome you and turn it over to you.
All right, good afternoon, everybody.
afternoon.
All right, I was just, I'm here today I need you guys' help. We having a major event here. This is our second year. The high school Battle of the Bands. And it's a big event that we put on last year. And we had 11 bands that was in the region. We had 4 from Shreveport in Texas and Mississippi and Arkansas. And we had about 10,000 people showed up at the Independence Stadium from all over. We had people coming in, and it was kind of caught us by surprise. It was a very much success show. We gave away $10,000. Also, we had Southern University in Shreveport also gave about 10 scholarships away. We had also band directors from all over the country come to recruiting the kids. And from there, it was just a positive event. And so this year, I just kind of want to take it to the next level. And so I upped the ante. It's $20,000 cash prize. And we got bands coming from all over the country: Chicago, Atlanta, Tennessee, Washington, D.C., New Orleans, Mississippi, Dallas, Alto, Texas, and this is about 14 best bands all over the country. I travel all over the globe trying to recruit the best bands all over, and they all coming and they agreed. And I need you guys' help. I didn't put this thing on a platform, and by having these bands and these high school bands raising money, trying to come to Shreveport, Louisiana, I definitely need you guys' assistance to making this event the most largest event, the biggest event that's ever came to Shreveport. I'm giving away $20,000 cash due to the fact is that a lot of band programs need it. A lot of kids need it. Music, I just realized, and I'm an athlete, I played sports in college and basketball, and I coached on with Nike basketball. I worked for the NBA for 9 seasons. And I didn't know that band get more scholarships than any sports in any school. That's baseball, basketball, track, soccer, and all those put together, band still have more students signing for scholarships. And it doesn't matter what school it is. And the world need to know that. These kids we want to let people know that music is cool, that you can be, it don't matter what size, shape, how you are, if big or tall, if you play an instrument your senior year, you can get a full scholarship. And that's what the platform I'm trying to bring. And last but not least, I have reached out to Nick Cannon and also Mr. Orlando Jones. They I don't know if y'all seen the movie Drumline, but it's a big popular movie that's been out for about 12 to 15 years now. And they are like the face of the band. And so I met with Nick Cannon in LA 2 weeks ago, and I presented him my idea, and he definitely said that he loves it. He loved the idea. He definitely wanted me to put a documentary together and also give it to him so they can shop it around. Well, I got an email on yesterday with Orlando Jones. He's a big film writer, we do a lot of films, and we had a conference call on yesterday. And he's going to put a video together to reach out to all the high school bands to encourage them, give them words of encouragement, and hopefully this event do well, and we put a nice event together, and hopefully my show can be shopped around to like HBO, BET, VH1, whoever, definitely bites on it. So I'm here today because it cost me over probably $60,000 to put this event on. Last year, I spent about $40,000, and through the help of you guys donated $2,500, and also the city helped out with the Independent Stadium. That was a great help. But this year, I need you guys, everybody, to come together so we can make this event possible. And I'm saying a lot of bands like from Chicago is telling me, well, why you won't have it in New Orleans? Because, there's a lot of more things to do. There's no attraction in Shreveport. What my kids gonna do if we come there a day before? That's my problem. My problem is that these band directors spend all their money raising the money trying to get here, and the kids just sit in the room in the hotels. So I just need something, help to come together to make this event possible. I have everything on email showing who's committed. I have a website. I have social media. I'm doing billboards. I'm also doing TV commercials, radio commercials, and all every outlet that you can name that we are doing it. And I need you guys' help. And like I said, if this event goes well, and the show is Shreveport will be on a platform like never before. And so I just came before you guys today to see. I have a sponsorship package that I can pass around to you guys, and you guys can. And I only have 40 days left because the event is October the 14th. So I just want to pass it around.
Commissioner Bowman?
Yes, sir. I just want to first thank you, Mr. Cedric, for coming down. I'm sure some of you can attest that it was a positive event last year, and it was very good to see different people. Everyone's not athletically inclined. Some people are goofy nerds like myself.
Right.
But I was able to play saxophone, so I played saxophone, and that was the way I got a scholarship to college and to play in jazz symphonic band and district band. But that exposure that people and children in our community, they don't normally get that, especially to see the camaraderie. And sometimes it encourages students and just kids and children in the neighborhood to even want to go, and it keeps them out of trouble.
Right.
I know band and just learning an instrument, how to play one, saved a lot of people from our neighborhood, but saved us from getting in trouble.
Right.
And so I hope that we can assist in some way, but I'm not certain how. I'm sure we'll be able to get together and see, but I do applaud what you're doing, and I did hear something about that people were talking in a good way about it, even network.
Right.
So I just commend you for even just putting us, Caddo, on a positive light. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, Commissioner Atkins?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Johnson, thank you for coming to see us today. I just want a clarification. Are you Imagine Nation Foundation?
Sir?
Are you part of the Imagine Nation
No,
Foundation?
sir. No, sir.
Relationship?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Actually, a Woodlawn alum. Go
Yes, sir.
Knights.
Yes, sir.
City Road Classic is tomorrow. Woodlawn versus Captain Street.
Yes, sir.
But thank you for the event that you had last year. I got a chance to come out, and I was glad that the parish had an opportunity to sponsor. And so I haven't seen the sponsorship package yet, but hopefully we could have an opportunity to at least consider our administrator may be someone that we could talk to about possible sponsorships. I will tell you that somebody up here also sponsors a lot of events around town who just finished talking, but I won't call his name. Mike sponsors. It rhymes with John Atkins. but maybe an opportunity to sit down and have a conversation. But I'd hope that we would at least consider some level of sponsorship. The event was well attended last year. I think he had some folks as far as Florida last year, and I saw a band from Tennessee.
Yes,
Was it Belhaven?
Whitehaven.
Whitehaven. So they are, that's sort of North Tennessee-ish,
Right,
a
yeah,
little
so
bit.
that's
So,
Nashville, way up. Yes.
and Dr. Wilson, if we could, Kelly Wells with the Sports Commission and Stacy Brown, with the Tourism Bureau. We assessed that hotel motel tax for the sole purpose of bringing more activities into town, more recreation and activities. And as a former band member, you're correct. We do give out more scholarships than anybody. I would tease my peers, my colleagues who were football and basketball players, that I may not be headed to play in the pros,
Right.
but I knew I was headed to college.
Right.
But we would joke with each other like that.
Right.
But it's a great camaraderie that you have. We have a very robust music and performing arts culture here. I believe Booker T. Washington is having a battle band in a couple of weeks, and y'all work together.
Right. Huntington, right, yes. Sir.
Huntington,
And what
that's great.
And what I want to do is that I want to reach out to all the schools. Like some of the schools in Shreveport didn't make the cut, only one school, Huntington. Mm-hmm. But I still want to go ahead and give each school a chance to raise money. So I'm going to go to every high school in the city in Shreveport, Bossier. I'm going to give them an opportunity. If you sell tickets, you take $2 from that ticket and donate it to your band program. Right. Because it's just not about, and also I'm just charging $10 to get in. So it's not like I'm charging a lot of money. I'm not in it to make money. I'm in it for the platform to take this thing to the next level, I mean, some people in all over states charge $20 to get in for this event. I don't want that. I want to charge $10. The more people to come, the more, the better it is. And, and that's what I'm looking for. And I can't do it without you guys. I have Southern University in Baton Rouge, that we're working on the contract now today, and they charging me, money,
Make sure to get to the school and not the band.
Right. So they're charging me money to come in as well. I have a college band from Tennessee, so we have 3 college bands that come to show the kids. And Southern is what the attraction of Shreveport and what I'm trying to do. So this is what I said. This event going to cost me a lot of money, and I just need you guys to help out. And you can deal directly with the people versus with me, and I can, whatever we can do as far as hotels, as far as feeding the bands. I told them that I was going to feed the bands because last year I fed every student. I had about 1,500 students last year. I fed all 1,500 students. I gave all 1,500 backpacks with my logo on there, and also we gave them all water. We just took care of that, and that costs a lot, and I need you guys' help. I only have one chance.
Well, let me 2 points.
Mm-hmm.
One, a couple points. I did love the way, because not all organizations do that. Caddo Parish was on the big jumbotron last year. I couldn't miss it. And so that was a great opportunity. And I can't say that everyone who receives funding from us puts us on display like that. Right. Our name was called several times throughout the program.
Mr. Lewis, yes, sir. He was the announcer. Mr. Johnson was the announcer, and he definitely did a wonderful job.
Without pay, I might add.
Thank you.
Yeah, he did it. He donated.
I think he had an incentive last time.
He did a good job, and he was sick that day. He still came out and he hung in there. And he called the band's name. He couldn't even talk, but he really did a good job. He donated his time, and I definitely thank you.
Let me say this as well. The Battle on the Border has a similar setup, so we're not unfamiliar with that setup where a portion of the proceeds will go back to the school. That's how they do it for the Battle on the Border, and it really turns out to be a good fundraiser for those high school football games. But I would really encourage us also, one, to consider what we can do to help, but also Stacy Brown and Mr. Kelly Wells to possibly put them in the room together as well, because they can do some marketing. They have resources as well with that hotel. Those bands that are going to come stay in the hotel that weekend, they're going to be contributing to the Shreveport Bossier Sports Commission as well as the hotel.
I spoke with them on yesterday, and they said that. Yeah, I spoke with them, Miss Erica.
Okay, I'm not sure who that is.
Ms. Erica Telser, something like that.
I'm gonna tell you what my old boss told me: is CEOs deal with CEOs,
Oh, okay.
and if you didn't talk to the CEO,
Oh.
we need to connect you to the CEO.
Okay, cool, gotcha. All right. Well, I just thank y'all, and I just hope you guys just consider on helping me with this event, and just know that we have kids signing for scholarships, and they are going to college, and something positive. This event is a positive. You can bring your kids, great music, all types of band. You know, we have expanded all kinds. You know, bands participate, and they're awesome. So.
Got a couple other commissioners. Commissioner Cawthorn?
Yes, sir. I want to thank you for your visionary view of the event that you're trying to do here and what you're trying to do here locally. I just have a few questions for you. You mentioned something as it relates to scholarships.
Yes, sir.
Does your organization have a coordinated effort in assisting local kids from Caddo Parish in procuring scholarship opportunities? Or are you doing anything to that extent to assist our local kids with scholarship opportunities?
Yeah, that's what we did last year. Last year, we got 10 different businesses to donate like $300 in scholarship, and we passed it out. And what we did is pick the band. We let the band director pick out like his drum major or his senior, whoever he wanted, give, and we gave them like a $300 check, scholarship. Yes, so, and that was all the schools that last year who participated. Yes, sir.
I'm also talking about even affording them the opportunity
no.
to have a platform with trying out for Grambling or Southern or something like that. Giving them a platform so that a band, when they graduate, would have the opportunity to go to that school. You're not doing anything like that.
Well, as far as on that point, we just had like band directors come in from all over, and they like did recruitment. They'll come in and they'll scout the kids.
So that's just like a scout coming in.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Another question I have: you said we only had one local band to make the cut.
Yeah, but
so what is the criteria?
Well,
we got several local bands.
Well, I mean, it's just when you go all around the country, and you have people marching 300 and band plus, and and they're so good. And also last year it kind of put you seen the platform of the different quality types of band last year.
So you suggest that the band needs to be 200 to 300?
No, not saying that.
I'm not saying that
because we have.
They only
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying is that it's just kind of the style of people like in Chicago, New Orleans, and stuff is just it's like sports, Some bands have it all, and some just kind of either young or just not their year or something like that.
I don't want to belabor the point, but I'm saying is it the routine? Is it the sound?
Sound is definitely like sound.
It's the actual design in which they're doing on it.
No, it's just the sound, the Brazilian, the everything, just the whole entire band as a whole. Yes, sir.
Well, good luck to you, man.
Thanks.
Commissioner Chavez?
Thank you, President. I'll keep this brief in the essence of time. I just want to commend you on your heart. I love what you're doing for the kids. And just something that you were touching on about what are they going to do when they get here. And you may want to reach out to Parish Administrator or second, Randy Lucky. When we had the Miss USA here, they pulled out a Mardi Gras parade in like a week and a half. And I think if you could show the people from all over the state and all over the country that put on a Mardi Gras parade, let them at least have something the day before to really pull on an event and show them like what Louisiana is all about,
that's awesome.
The fun and the festivities. I think we could pull it off super low cost and easily like we did before, and it would leave them going back to wherever they came from. Like, man, we got to go back to Louisiana. We had a blast.
Definitely.
So thank you for that.
Oh yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
And Commissioner Matthew Lynn?
Yes, sir. Did you say the weekend that you have allotted is October the 12th, 13th, and 14th?
Just 14th, just on the Sunday.
Are you able to, maybe not this year, but in the future, change that date 1 week?
Well, the only reason why I do that because because they on fall break. So the next day, Monday, they out of school, and Tuesday they out of school. So I kind of scheduled around Shreveport, Caddo Parish, around their schedule. Because if I have it on Saturday, a lot of them, that's homecoming week, so a lot of them have homecoming dances. A lot of them have their homecoming that weekend, so I just have it on that Sunday.
I bring that up and looking for things for the youth to do. If it was 1 weekend sooner, the Red River Revel is in action here, and if it was 1 weekend later, the state fair would be here, and so you're sandwiching something halfway in between those two events.
That's a good point.
That's an excellent point.
Okay, cool. Yeah, state fair next year. That's cool.
Good
That's
point.
everything.
Good
Thank
point, Commissioner Land. You come up with something pretty good every now and then, huh? Commissioner Lewis Johnson?
Thank you, Mr. President. I too am mindful of the time. Just wanted to commend you and say that I am aware of the fact that you work really hard and that the event is a quality event. And so I was thankful for an opportunity to assist. So just want to know that you do work hard and your heart is in the right place. I'd be remiss if I did not say that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming here today. Appreciate
Thank
it.
y'all so much.
Thank you. Okay, Todd, moving on back to our regular agenda.
Adopt the regular session minutes from August 23rd.
Motion to adopt.
Motion moved by Commissioner Lynn, seconded by Commissioner Lynn Cawthorn. Vice President Cawthorn, please vote. And that passes 11-0. Moving to our next item.
Communications, committee reports, administration response to information requests from commissioners.
Anybody got anything?
No report today, sir.
And this where we talk about meetings or we event
You
now?
can.
Yeah, you can talk about that. Go ahead.
An event now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Commissioner Johnson, Linda B. Johnson.
That's further down.
Thank you.
I thought that was it.
Just want to say something. I've just last week been seeing a lot of emails that's been coming through, and it's about pretty much day-to-day activities that pertain to the parish. When we got elected, we pretty much, our role is to be legislators and to basically put together ordinances, resolutions, and, from time to time, look at certain things that the parish does. But our charter does not say that we do day-to-day operations. And, to me, from some of the stuff that I've read, it's really borderline harassment. We have some departments in Caddo Parish that, get nitpicked if they walk by a sheet of paper and don't pick it up. They make the front page, or it's in social media that, Caddo Parish employee walked by the sheet of paper on the ground and didn't pick it up. And then we have other departments can get away with murder and nobody say anything. And so, I think that sometimes we have to police ourselves and make sure that we're not overstepping what we're here to be doing. And, Mr. Clark has been with us for a very short period of time. And from day one, some commissioners up here have been hounding him from day one. Even when he was announced to us as the new director, some of y'all started interrogating him as he showed up just to say, I'm here and I'm willing to change and try to get the animal services to the level it should be at. I even heard a statement of, well, your performance is going to affect the administrator. And I thought that was way out of line, for someone to make that kind of statement. And to keep on doing it is harassment to me. And this man has went out, gave one report where he spent his own money buying traps for Caddo Parish. And I told him to make sure that he gets with the administrator to get his money back, because he shouldn't be using his own private funds to be doing that kind of stuff. He spent a weekend trying to get some pets adopted. And he's going through a transition with employees. Some are gone, trying to hire some new ones. And, we have commissioners question, well, why we didn't set up these off-site adoptions. Well, he's doing the best he can with what he has. And to be nitpicking the individual like that, and to be constantly, every time we send some correspondence to Dr. Wilson, then he has to send it to that department head to get an answer. That stopped them from doing that work that they're supposed to be doing on a daily basis. So they got to respond to Dr. Wilson, then Dr. Wilson turns around and responds to us. That's wasting their time. And you really look at it, it's wasting taxpayers' dollars, because most of the stuff is real petty. And so we need to get to a point in which, if it's something that's really meaningful, we'll address it. But if it's not, we need to let it go and find out what's going on in a decent conversation with the administrator and let him know that, hey, we heard this, you might want to check into it. Instead of having, you need to know something ASAP. I mean, because that's just not, sometimes it just won't happen that way, depending on what's going on in the parish. I've heard I saw the update that Travis did, and, you know, adoptions are up. And in 90 days that he's been here, we've surpassed 100 adoptions for 2 out of the 3 months. I mean, what else do you want him to do? I mean, the deal was we was killing too many dogs, and now we basically now getting adoptions. He's working with adoption agencies, but there's still complaints. I mean, if 1 or 2 constituents come to me and say, well, Dr. Wilson is doing a bad job, I'm not going to hound Dr. Wilson about you doing a bad job. It's 250,000 people in Caddo Parish. 2 people does not run the parish. So we got to look at things in the order in which it should be. And I hope that everybody will take heed to that and we move forward and do it the right way. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Linda Johnson. Commissioner Lewis Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. In my district, in District 12, at Bill Cockrell, the city will be having a meeting this evening. Just a crime update, community concern meeting at Bill Cockrell at 6 o'clock. So I know that's one of the areas that we've been trying to address and just be aware of. Just want to make sure that the parish is aware of it and our citizens are aware that it will be in my district on this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Lewis. Commissioner Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to mention again briefly that Economic Development Committee will meet a week from today on Thursday, September 13th at 2 p.m. Thank you.
And Commissioner Matthew Lynn.
Thanks. If any department head is getting away with murder, I would certainly like to know which department head that is, and that if any commissioner knows of any department head getting away with murder, then I would hope that they would feel obligated to bring this forward to the rest of us. And I do believe that every director's performance is a reflection of the parish administrator, not just one, but every single one of them. What has a tendency to happen is that if there's a glaring infraction, people do have a tendency to focus on that one issue, and that once that is corrected, then they move on to the other. Sometimes I worry that, and I'm not saying this is happening, but that things intentionally happen within one department so that we don't look at the horrible things that could be happening in another department, and using it as a distractor. I would very much like for all of the issues within animal services to be corrected, and I do see some improvement. I was a person that was in favor of Mr. Clark being hired. I still have a lot of faith in Mr. Clark and his position, and I do believe that we need to do the best we can to let him lead that department. One of the questions that I had for Dr. Wilson twice was, is everybody being trained in Pet Point? And I guess I ask that now, is everybody at Animal Services trained in Pet Point?
100%.
100%.
Except for the people we just recently hired.
Okay.
Who had to go with training.
And so everybody at Animal Services is trained in Pet Point except for the people that just were most recently hired.
So,
And so that would mean that anybody at the animal shelter can do entry for the pets.
that's correct.
That's it. I think that we're moving forward. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Just wanted to say a couple things. Matthew, I think you were saying that you don't know of any horrible things. If there are, I definitely would like to know.
Well, there was a commissioner that just said that one department can get away with murder, but another department can't. And so I'm just saying that if there's a department that's getting away with murder, I'd certainly like to know about it.
I think he was just, he wasn't saying there was actually anybody committing murder or anything of that nature. We know what he was saying. He was simply saying that anytime and our director passes when, it seems like the animal control is on the news. was basically what he's saying, if you really want to get about it. I think we need to give Travis more time. And I piggyback on a lot of the things that you said, Lyndon. The only problem I really have against Dr. Wilson is really I think he's too nice. Some of these emails and things that people say and trying to get into day-to-day activities, he probably needs to be a little bit more abrupt with them because we do not and cannot get into his day-to-day activities. Charter, we're legislation, and that's what we should do. So I do agree with a lot of the stuff that you're saying, Commissioner Lyndon Johnson. So I'll move on down. I'll move off the board right now. We'll speak on the President's report in a few minutes. Okay. Let's see. I have Commissioner Bowman up, and then we'll come back to Lyndon Johnson. Bowman?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to, just add a little comment to it. Yes, citizens do, though, have the right to say or ask and inquire about things, no matter what department it is. But I do agree that we follow protocol and that we allow, as you say, day-to-day operations to be that of the administration and not us cherry-picking what we want to be involved in and not involved in another time. And I agree with Commissioner Lynn, Director Clark, and we've made so many improvements. And as you and I know, most of these were things that we were even looking for like the past 4 years or more. And PEP was one of the things we did, to even get to this point. So to know that we're 100%, that says something. And no, nothing is perfect, but we always have to, I think they're doing a diligent job, and it's better than what we've been doing. And so if we just continue to support, but also understand that people also do have the right to say, certain things or inquire as well. And it's our job to follow up sometimes, Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Lyndon Johnson?
Thank you. To clear up Commissioner Matthew Lynn, that was an exaggeration to say that they're getting away with murder, but it proved my point that you just asked about every employee in animal services being trained to a certain software, but you didn't ask if everybody in public works is trained to a certain software or everybody in finance is trained to a certain software. It's always picking on animal services right now about all day employees a certain way or doing a certain thing. And we have employees that cover different areas. Ask the same questions to all the departments if that's the case, not just one. That's the point I'm trying to get across. We spend so much emphasis on animals that it is ridiculous. We're here to serve the citizens of Caddo Parish, not the animals of Caddo Parish. So just put our perspectives right, that's all.
Thank you, Commissioner Lyndon Johnson. I appreciate that. Moving on to our next item.
President's report?
Yeah, just a couple things. First, I wanted to say, according to our bylaws and rules, if you're going to have an item on the agenda, it has to be put on the agenda by 1 o'clock Thursday before. Is that correct?
Thursday before work session, yes.
I know Todd's been a little bit lenient about going to 2. There was something that came up and got put on, and I asked for it to be put on because what we have done in the past is go way beyond that time limit. But I have instructed him, and I have instructed him for now on, we're going to go by our bylaws. If something is not on the agenda by 1 o'clock, then it's not going to get on the agenda, okay, by Thursday. So our meeting's Monday, then our agenda deadline is Thursday at 1 o'clock. Okay. All right. The other thing I wanted to say was on August 29th, Wednesday, I guess that was about a week ago, I did attend, I guess it was the ceremony for the dedication of the community center to David Raines Center on Martin Luther King Drive.
David Raines.
Is that right?
It's on David Raines.
Okay, on David Raines Road, with Commissioner Lyndon Johnson and Dr. Guidry was there, or Lawrence Guidry. LB's got me calling him a doctor now. Anyway, we had a very good turnout. They're doing a great job out there. They serve the community very well. They are so proud of Commissioner Lyndon Johnson. The thanks and accolades given out to Commissioner Lyndon Johnson were just unbelievable for all of his hard work to make sure that did come to the fruition, and they were sure to thank the commission, but they really thanked a lot for Linda Johnson, and the food was excellent. They were able to serve us lunch and dinner. So I do come to Shreveport every now and then and go to things if I can, because we do have a lot going on. So Lennon, appreciate y'all your hard work out there. Maybe one day they'll put my picture next to yours, but I doubt it. Okay, thank y'all. Moving on to our next item.
Next, we move to public hearing on zoning ordinances and cases. Ordinance number 5790 of 2018 in regards to zoning case P1818, amending zoning property located on the south side of Jefferson Page Road, approximately 650 feet east of Judy Lane, from RE Residential Estate District to R17 Single Family District.
Public hearing is now open regarding ordinance number 5790. Is that correct, Todd?
That is
Is
correct.
anybody here to wish to speak in favor of ordinance number 5790? Is anybody wish to speak against ordinance number 5790? I see no public comments on that item. The public hearing is closed. Moving to our next item.
We move to public hearing on our ordinances. Ordinance number 5788 of 2018, declaring certain adjudicated properties to be surplus and authorize the parish administrator or designee to sell the parish of Caddo's tax interest in certain surplus adjudicated properties.
I declare the public hearing open on ordinance number 5788. Is anybody wishes to speak in favor of ordinance number 5788? Please come forward. Is anybody here to wishes to speak against ordinance number 5788? I see no one speaking. The public hearing is closed on ordinance number 5788. We're moving on to our next item.
Ordinance number 5791, amending the budget of estimate revenues and expenditures for the Economic Development Fund for the year 2018 to provide an appropriation of $150,000 to conduct a disparity study.
Is there anybody who wishes to speak in favor of ordinance number 5791? Is there anybody who wishes to speak against ordinance number 5791? At this time, the public hearing on ordinance number 5791 is closed. Moving to our next item.
Ordinance number 5792 of 2018, amending the budget of estimate revenues and expenditures for the Reserve Trust Fund for the year 2018 to provide an additional appropriation of $250,000 from the Reserve Trust Fund to assist tornado victims.
Is there anybody who wishes to speak in favor of ordinance number 5792? Does anybody wish to speak against ordinance number 5792? I declare the public hearing on ordinance number 5792 closed. Moving to our next item.
Ordinance number 5793 of 2018 to authorize the parish administrator or a designee to sell Hawkins Lear Park.
Does anybody wish to speak in favor of ordinance number 5793? Is there anybody who wishes to speak against ordinance number 5793? I declare the public hearing on ordinance number 5793 closed. Moving to our next item.
Ordinance number 5794 of 2018 to rescind the subdivision of Northern Cross Estates Unit 2 in the parish of Caddo.
Anybody here to speak in favor of ordinance number 5794? Is anybody here wishes to speak against ordinance number 5794? Declare the public hearing on ordinance number 5794 closed. Moving to our next item.
Next, we move to zoning ordinances for final passage. Ordinance number 5790 of 2018 in regards to zoning case P1818.
Motion to move to adopt.
Okay. Have a motion by Commissioner Lewis Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Stephen Jackson to adopt ordinance number 5790. No one on the board, we can please vote.
Wrong button.
Did you want to speak on
I
it?
do not, thank you.
Okay. And that passes 11-0. Moving to our next item.
Ordinances for final passage. Ordinance number 5788 of 2018, declaring certain adjudicated properties to be surplus and authorize the parish administrator designee to sell tax interest.
So move for adoption.
Moved by Commissioner Stephen Jackson, seconded by, help me out, Commissioner Bowman, to adopt ordinance number 5788.
Yeah.
Lewis, you're not on the board, are you? Let's see.
No, thank you.
Please vote. Okay, moving to our next item.
Ordinance number 5791, amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Economic Development Fund for year 2018 to provide an appropriation of $150,000, conduct a disparity study.
Motion to postpone for 2 weeks till September the 20th.
Have a motion by Commissioner Matthew Lynn to postpone 2 weeks till, when is it?
The 20th.
20th. Second by Commissioner Stephen Jackson. Does anybody wish to speak on this?
No.
Okay. All right.
I have a quick question. Would this allow public comments to be redone too or not?
No, we won't be, well, I guess we could advertise again.
We had the public hearing today on it, so Donna, we wouldn't have another public hearing on it, would we?
Not unless you specify.
Okay. It has not been specified, so the motion has been made to postpone it. I think Commissioner Lynn wants to get some more data. I know he sent us some. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, so. Commissioner Chavez?
Thank you, Chairman. Commissioner, or Chair, could you, I'd like to request to know why for the possible, I'm speaking to you as opposed to the other commissioner as we're supposed to, why we're prolonging the vote, because I figured we'd like to vote on this and talk about it now, but obviously I can reserve these talking points if we have a valid reason to wait.
I will yield to Commissioner Matthew Lynn. He might be able to, since he maker of the motion.
Several emails that were sent out that I don't believe that everybody has had the opportunity to absorb. I know that I have been ahead of everybody else in receiving them, and I'm still comprehending everything that was written in regard to disparity studies, both in Tallahassee, Florida, Leon County, and in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and how that would reflect upon us, as well as there was a good house cleaning amendment that I plan on adding to it if I choose to, that I hope that y'all would read and be comfortable with as well. That just talked about evenness in the decision-making process of the disparity study.
Those were the emails that Mr. Bernstein had sent us.
Those were all sent out by Attorney Bernstein.
Mr. Chavez, I'll still give you the floor.
No, I was finished speaking. I just want to get back on the board to make a substitute motion if I can.
Go ahead.
All right, I'd like to make the motion to send this to the NGO committee. I can speak on it if I can get a second.
Second.
Obviously, there.
Point of order.
Go ahead.
It's on the Economic Development Fund. So that's Economic Development.
Yeah, go ahead. I was going to ask you because it was already. So the motion, a substitute motion was made by Commissioner Chavez and seconded by Commissioner Middleton to move this to the Economic Development Committee.
That was Bowman.
I'm sorry?
It was Bowman.
Bowman made the second?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. And basically the reason, guys, is obviously there's some issues that we need to work out, and rather than work it out here, if there's more information that you have, it, I too have some information. I'd rather us than do it around the horseshoe, have a more collaborative effort where we can meet behind closed doors and discuss this rather than do it out here. And if we can all agree to at least do that back to Economic Development Committee.
Another point of order.
Yeah, point of order. Yeah.
Won't be closed.
Yeah.
You guys know what I mean.
Yeah, I think what Commissioner Chavez was saying, that in his opinion, it would be more productive to be at the Economic Development Committee. I mean, it wouldn't be, those obviously are open into the meeting.
Right.
You were just saying back where we're able to talk more freely and work things out a little bit quicker.
Right.
Okay. Commissioner Jackson?
I'm going to oppose us going back to the Economic Development Committee if our recollection, if we can refresh our memory. This was placed in the Economic Development Committee and didn't make it out of the Economic Development Committee.
That is correct.
And so that's why it's on the agenda now. So to say we're going to go back through the Economic Development agenda to try to work it out, knowing full well that it won't make it out of the Economic Development Committee, I find that counterproductive to what we're trying to do here, and so I would object. I stand in opposition to sending it back to the Economic Development Committee, and I would hope that we would give the 2-week layover to look at the information that's been issued out, and let's have some additional conversation about it.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Lynn?
I didn't realize I was on the board.
I think he was just clarifying the closed door, please.
All right.
Yes,
no one else on the board. We've talked about this a lot. I'm going to speak. I kind of agree with Commissioner Jackson. It's already been to the committee. The committee did not vote to bring it out, and I'm kind of just ready to vote this thing, but I'll support delaying it for 2 weeks so I can. I was telling Commissioner Matthew Lynn, I know I'd gotten those emails and had a lot going on, hadn't had a chance to look at it. So I'll be supporting Commissioner Lynn's motion. All right, so our substitute motion that we're fixing to vote on is to send it to the Economic Committee, and then the next motion will be to delay it for 2 weeks. So if you're for.
Was there a second on that motion?
On Commissioner Chavez's?
Yes.
Yes, Commissioner Bowman.
Okay, I just want to be sure.
Okay,
'cause I didn't have
so
that.
Commissioner Chavez makes a motion, Commissioner Bowman seconds it to send this to Economic Development Committee. Please vote at this time.
No vote.
A no will go to Commissioner Matthew Lynn's, but, yes. A yes will send it to Economic
Yes
Development.
sends it to committee.
Yeah, yes sends it to Economic Development, and no will come up to where we'll vote to delay it for 2 weeks. Everybody please vote. And that passes, fails. That's what I meant, 4-7. So we're going back to the original motion by Commissioner Matthew Lynn to delay this for 2 weeks. Please vote at this time for delay of 2 weeks. We can get it voted. Okay, that passes 10-1. And moving to our next item.
Ordinance number 5792 of 2018, budget investment revenues, expenditures, reserve trust fund for year 2018.
That's moved by Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Stephen Jackson. Please vote. And that passes 11-0. Moving to our next item.
Ordinance number 5793 to authorize the parish administrator or designate to sell Hawkins Lear
Move to
Park.
adopt 57.
Moved by Commissioner Lyndon Johnson, seconded by the chair. Please vote. Sorry.
That's fine.
And that passes. Moving to our next item.
To rescind the subdivision of Northern Cross Estates, Unit 2.
This is an ordinance
5794.
5794. Yeah, I was falling behind. So that's motions made by the chair, seconded by Commissioner Stephen Jackson. Please vote.
It happens.
That passes 11-0. Moving to our next item.
Next, we move to ordinances for introduction by title. Ordinance number 5796 of 2018, authorize the parish administrator to execute a permanent utility servitude on a portion of Lot 27 North Shreveport Industrial Park, Unit Number 1, containing 900 square feet or .021 acres, more or less, for the construction of a sanitary sewer lift station. Next, we move to ratify the work session minutes
Motion
from
to
September
ratify.
4th.
That's moved by Commissioner Matthew Lynn, second by Commissioner Stephen Jackson to ratify the work session minutes of September 4, 2018. Please vote. Someone miss?
Me. I vote.
And that passes 11-0. Moving to our next item.
Next, we move to resolutions. Resolution number 60, supporting the ACT Work Ready Communities Initiative.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Bowman,
Yes, sir.
seconded by Commissioner Atkins. Please vote. That passes 11-0. Next item.
Resolution number 61 of 2018, proclaiming September as Sickle Cell Awareness Month.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Bowman, seconded by Commissioner Lewis Johnson. Please vote. And moving to our, that passes 11-0. Next item?
We have no old business, we move to new business. We have an ABO appeal case. Miss Kathleen Adele Jones has appealed the Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office denial of ABO card application. I think we have Miss Jones with us today, and we also have two individuals from the Sheriff's Department here.
Okay. Do we need to swear anybody?
I don't think we need to swear anybody in. I think she just wants to make an appeal to the commission. Her ABO card was denied, the application was denied.
By the sheriff.
That's correct. So the
And-
process is for her to come to this body to, with an appeal.
And then we either,
You can either uphold the sheriff's decision or overturn the sheriff's decision.
and if we overturn it, then she gets her license?
She can get her ABO card.
ABO card, and if she doesn't, if we don't, then I guess she can file a lawsuit
She
in the
can
district
always,
court?
right, I guess, go across the street and file.
Okay. So we have Miss Kathleen Adele Jones present, and what deputy do we have? I don't see anybody here.
Captain David Robinson.
Come on.
It's a lieutenant? Is it lieutenant?
Lieutenant Robinson, yes.
Robinson, okay. All right, so before we start, I think we have a couple of commissioners that may have some questions about the procedure, because this is a little bit unusual. I don't really remember us doing one of these. So just briefly, if I'm going to say this again, so the Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office issues the ABO card, and they have denied her card. So Commissioner, who's that? Commissioner Jackson, you're on the board?
Yes, I was just gonna ask Lieutenant Robinson, who I saw sitting back there. I just trying to figure out whose district is this in? Do we know? I meant to say, do we know? Do we know whose district?
I'm not sure, Miss Jones. Miss Jones, do you know what?
I'm out in Keithville, so.
It would be
District
Commissioner
11.
Jim Smith.
Okay. That was my question.
Okay, is anybody else got any other questions?
Yeah, I have one.
Commissioner Lyndon Johnson?
I was going to ask if the deputy will, I guess, refresh us on the case, the information, from the case.
Yes.
Okay. But, I mean, sometime
Yeah,
before we make our.
Yeah, why don't we let the deputy go first? Lieutenant Robinson, if you can present your side, I think that would help out.
Okay. I'm Lieutenant David Robinson, the Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office. I'm the Executive Officer of the Operations Support Bureau of the Caddo Sheriff's Office. We issue ABO cards at the discretion of the Sheriff's Office. On the date of August 15th of this year, Ms. Kathleen A. Jones applied for an ABO card with the Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office. After review of her application, it was in her questionnaire, she admitted to being on February the 20th of 2018, she was convicted of an unauthorized use of a movable vehicle, which is a felony in Caddo. And the crime was in Bossier Parish, but it's a felony in the state of Louisiana. She's on probation until She's on probation until 2020. So we followed the letter of the law on the parish ordinance in section 484, qualification of an applicant A2. And it states if the person has been convicted of a felony under the laws of the United States, the state of Louisiana, or any other state or country, at least 5 years must have passed since the expiration of the sentence given for the conviction of the felony, including probation and parole. Well, she was convicted in February of this year, and she's presently on probation until 2020, automatically disqualified for an ABO application. So we denied it.
Is there anything else you need to present?
No, sir.
Commissioner Lynn, do you need to ask a question? You want to hear from her
I do have a
first?
question. Is this the first time that Caddo has enacted that law and following it?
We do this every day in
This
Caddo
every day?
Sheriff's.
This is the first time in history that anybody from Caddo Parish with a felony has ever applied for an ABO
I don't know
card?
about history. I've been 24 years, so I don't speak for, and I only been working in this area for the last 3 years, so I can't speak for history, but I can speak in my time in the area. So.
Thank you. And does DeSoto Parish, I'm curious if this lady could apply for an ABO card.
I can't
DeSoto
speak for no parish but Caddo Parish. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I guess
See what uniform he has on?
right. I guess my question is, I guess for Mr. Hopkins is this something to where if somebody does commit a crime or Caddo does not allow it, that they could possibly receive a license to distribute alcohol and DeSoto or Bossier, or I guess I need to ask legal.
I'd turn that to Donna. Donna, can you answer that question? Did you hear what he said? You can only speak for Caddo?
I was gonna say,
I can only speak for Caddo?
I would have to look up the ordinances of the other parishes. I'm not familiar with, ordinances from different parishes.
Okay, will you look that up for the next meeting as far as DeSoto Parish, Bossier, and then also as close as we are to Texas, a person could drive to an adjacent jurisdiction and work, possibly.
Possibly. I do know that you cannot, be on probation to work in the city of Shreveport. I do believe that is the same in Bossier.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Can I say something?
Hang on 1 minute. Commissioner Jackson?
Yeah, Captain Robinson.
Well, you just moving him on up, aren't
Yeah,
you?
promote me. I appreciate that.
Trying to work on that.
Hey,
that retirement.
ask him if he's gonna give you a job raise.
Yeah.
Raise. Come on, Commissioner Jackson, help him out.
Well, that 24 years caught me by surprise.
Yeah.
But a quick question. SPD, do they issue temporary, don't they do something like, do y'all do that like a temporary, I think they do like a 90-day probationary period where they check in, or y'all don't?
We don't issue. We have in the past.
Okay.
Prior to my time being in operations support, they have.
Okay.
But the sheriff, we changed the policy some years back, so we don't issue. Either they get an ABO card from us or they don't.
I got you.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Commissioner Chavez?
Thank you, Chair, President. I think maybe what Commissioner Lynn was more so wanting to know was, is this the first appeal that we've had through the sheriff's office? Because I'm sure maybe other people have already been declined their ABO card, but this is the first time we've seen somebody up here with a appeals request from their decline.
Todd's
I
held
can
his
answer
hands.
that. We had an appeal in 2013.
Yeah.
That
So-
was before we were on.
Yes,
here.
before most of it. I mean, I don't really remember it, but I've slept since then. So.
My question is to Donna, Attorney Frazier. I know if people get their license suspended, they are able to get a hardship license in order to go to work. If we were to grant her an exception or a hardship type ABO so that she could fulfill her employment, what would we stand on a legal perspective on overriding that state law? Or do we have that availability where what they've already had written is if somebody has if they're on probation, they cannot get it. But I'm assuming that's state law, not just parish law.
I'm taking a look right now. I do believe you are correcting it, and assuming that we are correcting it, you can't override that.
And thank you for the info, but that leads me to the next question that, it sounds kind of ignorant, but what are we doing here?
It says
She had a
that
right
has
to
a right
appeal.
to
Right to
appeal.
appeal.
You have to give that right to appeal. You just get to decide whether or not the appeal is valid.
Well, no, I mean, I understand that, but if she legally has a right to appeal, but we can't do anything to help her, then it kind of defeats the purpose of her coming in front of us.
Well, there are other reasons for an appeal. Maybe other reasons for an appeal. This wouldn't just be the reason. Someone may come before you with an appeal that you actually can do something about.
Would this specific case be something that we could actually do something about?
No,
In
sir,
your opinion, I'd like your legal opinion.
Not without violating
The statute?
The state law?
Yeah.
Okay.
With that being said, may I make a quick statement? Okay?
No, ma'am, hang on 1 second. Commissioner Jackson, are you through, Commissioner Jackson?
I'm through, President. Thank you,
Commissioner
Attorney
Commissioner
Frazier.
Jackson?
So I'm just gonna piggyback on, because I was gonna ask a question. If the appeal is denied here, Attorney Frazier or Todd, is there still an option for the appellant to go to district court, or does they exhaust all of the option, or is this part of the process to show that that the appellant has gone through the appeals process?
This is part of the process. She would not be able to file a lawsuit without having come here first.
Okay. So there's another step that she could possibly take here.
Yes.
And I don't know, I haven't had a chance to talk to Commissioner Smith, but I don't know what the pleasure of I know at least at the city council, they try to at least follow the pleasure of the persons whose area this in. That's why I was interested in knowing whose area this was. I know they at least give due diligence to that person and their constituent. So I don't know if we'll get a chance to hear from Commissioner Smith or not, but I'll try to follow his lead on it.
Let's hear from the lady. I like to, because she's Miss, is it Jones?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let's go ahead and hear what you got to say.
Okay, I don't know if all this pertains to Shreveport City as well. My sister's a 3-time convicted felon, currently on probation, but she currently has her ABO card.
Where is she at?
She's at home right now, I'm
No,
sure with her.
is it in Caddo, Bossier, or what?
She was in Shreveport City, so I'm in Caddo, so I don't understand how I'm not able to get mine. I mean, drug charges, violent charges, my charge wasn't a drug charge, my charge wasn't violent. I don't understand how I'm not able to get mine. I'm trying to turn my life around. Yeah, I made some messed up mistakes in my past, but I'm doing good. You know, and this is preventing me from changing my life and keeping it turned around. Then it's not fair. And what am I doing here if I'm not able, if y'all wanted to grant, the overturn of the denial, and there's nothing y'all can do, what am I even doing here?
I agree.
I'm already late for work as it is, trying to get this done so I can continue to work. It's not fair to me. It's really not.
Commissioners, if it's okay with you, what I would like to suggest is, because I've looked at the City of Shreveport application, and I know that they have that exact same requirement that you cannot be on probation or convicted of a felony. And to get an ABO card, I'd like to get some more information. If you all would like to postpone this or continue the hearing until our next meeting date, so I can kind of find out what she's talking about.
So move to postpone for 2 weeks.
Could you put it at the beginning of the agenda for convenience?
Sure.
Okay, so I have a motion by Commissioner Jackson, seconded by Commissioner Matthew Lynn to postpone this for 2 weeks.
Provided we put it at the beginning of our next agenda, so she doesn't have to sit through the whole meeing.
Okay.
Can we do that, Todd?
We can.
Okay, that's fine. We'll put it at the closest as we can. I was on there. I was going to speak, but from what I heard from Lieutenant Robinson, he was quoting the statute or ordinance. I mean, it's the law. I don't know how we can give her this card. Are you saying there's some type of way we could give her a card? Because to me, it's the only thing I can see is us having to uphold the law and denying her, and then she go file district court and file a lawsuit and say the law is unconstitutional or something to that issue.
That is my suspicion, Commissioner Dominic. However, being that she's raised a situation that shows that there was a different potential outcome, I'd like to have the opportunity to investigate that.
What potential outcome?
A different outcome where she's talking about another individual who was.
But it was through Shreveport City.
Lieutenant's probably fixing to find out her name. They're probably going to get that yanked. Go ahead.
She brought this up to me when she was in my office about her sister. Her sister does not have an ABO card with the Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office. She came to my office. I interviewed. I talked to her. And then she said she might have one with the city. I cannot speak for the city.
You can only speak with Caddo Parish.
Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office. Caddo Parish. She does not have one.
My mother took her to Shreveport City. She's sitting in the back. Shreveport City to get her ABO card to work at Crawdaddy's at the corner of Colquitt Road and Mansfield Road in Shreveport.
Ma'am, you're right now. I think let's hold up. Let's go ahead and vote. The motion is to postpone it for 2 weeks. Does anybody have any other questions?
I was just going to ask if we could look into that temporary. I think the city of Shreveport does give a temporary 90-day or something like that. So if we could look into that, I'm not sure, but we'll more than likely. Right, I know, but we'll more than likely have to follow the pleasure of our commissioner as well as the sheriff's department. We understand.
But would they be able to?
Hang on, Commissioner Chavez?
No, I'm all right, Chair.
Okay.
I appreciate
So at this time, let's go ahead and vote to, if you want to vote to postpone for 2 weeks, please vote.
And the attorney's going to get us some more information.
It'll be at the front of the motion.
She's going to send us some information.
Okay. Please vote.
Can you email that to us, Attorney Fred?
Sure.
So we can.
And that passes 9-1. Okay. So, Todd, you will let her know when our next meeting is?
get in contact with.
Okay. We'll come back and continue this meeting. All right, you can have a seat. Moving on to our next item.
Communication committee reports.
Does anybody have anything else? Communication committee reports. Commissioner Linda Johnson.
Got one question for Kevin. Are all our voting precincts in place and ready for November?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, everything should be fine.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Jackson.
Yes, Attorney Frazier, following up on that last issue there. Could you email that to us in advance, and two, if it's outside the city limits, they can't just go to Shreveport and get one. Can they circumvent that? Because I'm kind of interested in how that plays out, and what are the actual, when the business owners come down, because this is not the first time we've had it. Is that a liquor or is that an ABO appeal that we have when the owners come down?
When owners come down, it's because they sold to underage patrons.
So is that for their liquor license or is that for their ABO?
That's for their liquor license.
The actual license?
The license for the establishment.
Okay. But they appeal, so if I'm correct, it's the same process. They go to the sheriff or they get busted, and they go to the sheriff revokes their license or revoke them or they get fined or something?
Basically, the parish issues their liquor license.
Okay.
So when they get busted, there is a parish ordinance that specifies what penalties they would have to face when they sell to underage patrons.
Got it. So totally separate process?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And I do want to point out before we meet, Soul Bowl is next week. So please, if you can get by, I think the parish is helping out, doing some things, so appreciate it. It's a good time in our city to participate in that. Battle on the Border this week, a lot of folks coming through. So if you get a chance to show your face there, show your face and support our local teams. I believe Bird and Evangel are playing some folks from out of state. So come hear the voice, Lewis Johnson, this weekend, Thursday, today through Sunday or Saturday? Through Saturday. So some good football taking place in town. So thank you, Mr. President.
Scratch that name.
Okay, so no one else is on board. Next item is citizen comments, late arrivals. I have none. Todd, you got any? Okay,
He's gone.
we're done.
Move to
We have a
adjourn.
motion to adjourn. We're so moved.